I think that might have been the single best weekend of NFL football I have ever seen. We had crazy comebacks. Every prime time was fantastic. And on top of that, the 1972 Miami Dolphins can pop the champagne because there are 0 undefeated teams left, thanks to the New England Patriots, who went into Buffalo and beat the Buffalo Bills 23-20. And what was that other team? Oh, yeah, the Denver Broncos, who came into Lincoln Financial Field and beat your Philadelphia Eagles. But here's my thing. Why is it that ever since that game, all the national media has been talking about is, what's wrong with the Eagles? Are they having offensive issues? All this and that. I haven't heard a lot of people giving the Denver Broncos credit. Like, Philadelphia is not an easy place to go into and win. The Eagles are one of the most dominant teams in the NFL over the last couple years. They've been in 2 Super Bowls to show for it, having won 1. Why is it that everybody's like, what's wrong with Jalen Hurts? Why can't he and A.J. Brown get on the same page? All this and that. Why isn't anybody giving Denver their credit?
I think it was mostly because of the flow of the game, and I know you were probably a little bit disappointed that you had to work the Cavs preseason game on Tuesday, that we couldn't do a show on Tuesday, because it would be a little bit more fresh, and you could read me even more so that my Philadelphia Eagles are no longer undefeated. But, my takeaway from this game was, Jalen says, got my wisdom teeth today, boys. Best form of entertainment is on now. Love the comment, Jalen. Thank you very much. I think, Josh, to your point, it was the fact that through 3 quarters, the Eagles were, I don't want to say dominating the game because it was only 17-3, but as a fan, it felt over. This was a game the Eagles typically don't lose, where it's like, oh, yeah, Denver's got 3 points. Bo Nix has missed a couple throws that could have went for touchdowns. He doesn't have it today. And no matter if our offense is struggling in the second half or not, we're just going to cruise to victory. And then, to your point, they go back-to-back touchdown drives. Sean Payton ends up going for 2, which I couldn't believe he did it at the time, and I still can't believe he did it now.
Wait a minute. This is the same coach who came out in the second half of a Super Bowl and did the onside kick. And you're telling me you couldn't believe he went for 2?
Not in that spot when you're on the road. If it was to completely win the game outright, like if there was no time on the clock, absolutely, I think you do it. Now with, 8 or 9 minutes left in the football game, no, I did not think he was going to go for 2. I thought maybe he was going to try to get him off sides and maybe you move to the 1-yard line and then go for 2. I didn't expect him to run the play, and neither did Romo, by the way, who couldn't believe the play call. It was a perfectly executed play. And from that moment on, Denver had control of the game, yet arguably it came down to the Broncos defense making a play or a not play on 2 controversial-esque calls late in the game that both went Denver's way. And I'm not saying that's why the Eagles lost the game, but what I am saying is that's what it takes to beat these Eagles teams. Is the Eagles have to self-inflict themselves. They have to commit bad penalties. They have to go 3 and out and have their offensive drives, because it's really hard to beat a team with that much talent.
And they had to only give Saquon Barkley 6 carries?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because everybody is saying, how can you not give Saquon Barkley 6 carries? Well, I'll tell you how, Josh, because I think this is the most underlying stat of the entire 2025 NFL season. Do you want to guess what the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is ranked this season by Pro Football Focus?
Probably like 24th.
They're ranked 15th. So an offensive line that was dominant last season, throughout the whole season, is now middle of the pack. And teams are rotating safeties late very early on in the game, right? Denver played a lot of man coverage. Jalen Hurts was able to get the ball to Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith. Later in the game, Vance Joseph did a change-up to where they would show a man look, post-snap they would drop into zone coverage, and it would lead to a lot of confusion in the run game and the pass game. They're not giving Saquon Barkley the ball because every first down they try to run the football. Saquon is getting tackled in the backfield. It's 2nd and 14, and now you have to throw the ball.
Yeah, the Eagles have to be, I said this last week when they were still undefeated. For me, they are one of, if not the most confusing and confounding teams this season because, like, they haven't been able to put together a complete game yet. They've been able to have these great halves, like the second half against the Rams. I would say the first half against the Buccaneers, not so much the second half.
I would even say the first half against Dallas, right? They go flawless. They go 3 for 3 in touchdowns before the lightning delay.
Okay, that's fair. But, like, you know, we criticize them for throwing the ball too much. And then they run the ball to oblivion, and you got everything with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And then this time, they throw the ball too much, and all the
and you're criticized for them not giving Saquon Barkley. So, again, I get it. This is what Kevin Patullo is going to have to go to. Now, as I keep stressing, I know it's not the same, but last year, this team did not take off until when? Week 7 on the road at the New York Giants. Who do they play tonight? Week 6, short week, Thursday Night Football. There's a lot of drama out there with this football team from the reports that A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley had a 2-hour meeting on Monday.
I think Jalen was part of that also.
And Jalen Hurts as well. So, you know, we'll see. I do expect my team to come out and win the game tonight. I hope we win by more than a touchdown. I hope this game is not down in the fourth quarter, because one of the things about having Jalen Hurts on this team, I don't think the noise bothers Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's affected by it. And I don't see a 2023-esque collapse yet because of one reason. It's not even because of the offense. It's because I do believe that with Vic Fangio being the coordinator on the defense, they're not going to be as bad as they were 2 years ago when they could not stop a nosebleed during that historic natural funk collapse.
But again, to go back to Denver, yes, Bo Nix is not as consistent as we'd like him to be, but like he made that throw to Cortland Sutton late in the game when he absolutely
and Sutton, you know, Moss Quinyon Mitchell, and he was out of his mind. Here's the one thing about Denver. Do you know what Sean Payton did when the game ended?
He threw like a whole rager.
They took the bus that the team was on, and they were playing Meek Mill, who's a famous rap artist, obviously. He's done a lot of songs for the Eagles, and they were blasting it while they were driving down Lincoln Financial Field. That's why people aren't talking about Denver, because they're talking about that, because Sean Payton is trying to make a statement win. And all of a sudden, Denver went from, could they be third in the division? Chargers are 3-0. Denver's 0-1 in the division, to the Chargers lose 2 in a row. Kansas City lost. Denver won, and guess who's tied for first place in the division?
I told you Denver was going to win this division. I predicted it.
And you did. And a couple of weeks ago, I didn't think there was a chance. And all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, here they are tied for first place.
I know. This is Denver. Like, Nick Bonito put on a fantastic performance. He is going to quickly become a household name with the way he's playing defensively. I would like them to have somebody opposite Cortland Sutton. I like Marvin Mims, but I wouldn't say he's the 1B to Cortland Sutton's 1A, because it does seem like Cortland Sutton has emerged as the 1A that the Broncos have been waiting for. So that is a flaw.
And Evan Ingram also scored a touchdown, and they're getting Dobbins and RJ Harvey back in the fold.
Yes. And their schedule is not that difficult coming up.
Well, I will say with this weekend, I am picking them to beat the Jets, but be careful with this game. It's a London game, and we know weird things happen in London.
Yeah, like they've got the Jets this week, then they host the Giants, then they host the Cowboys. That could be a really good game. they're at the Texans, and then they host the Raiders before hosting the Chiefs. That's not.
That's easily. I'm not saying they're going to go 5-0, but 4-1 is on the table.
Yeah, and I think their bye week is after that Chiefs game and prior to their trip to the nation's capital to play the Commanders.
All right. Well, speaking of games in London, we got to wake up at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, get to watch a 6-foot-tall shrimp play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. And he is now officially QB1 in Cleveland because Joe Flacco is on his way to Cincinnati to
Don't
start
let the door hit you on the way out, Joe Flacco. Bye. Won't miss you.
So, Josh, you're the Browns fan here. You already know how I feel about Dillon Gabriel, but how'd you think his first start went?
I thought it went well. It seemed like like I've been saying, he was more willing to throw the deep ball. It wasn't all short and intermediate routes. You know, they didn't take a lot of risk. It was a lot of run the ball. But overall, if I had to give his first game a grade, I'd give it like a solid B+. I didn't think it was overly impressive, but I certainly didn't think it was terrible. You know?
I think you're being way too nice. I think this is an average quarterback game. I think this is a C. I don't think Dillon Gabriel is anything special. I think this is a waste of time. He is Tua Tagovailoa and Brown in the Orange. That's what he is. He's not going to be good in cold weather. He has the same stature, same throwing delivery, same pretty much everything. He's going to be really accurate. He's going to get the ball out on time. But when you put pressure on him, the way Minnesota started doing in the second half, which going into the second half, Minnesota didn't even know if they were going to have Carson Wentz on the field, and they still won that game.
Yes,
so how is this a successful trip for the Browns? And by the way,
there were some coaching blunders by Kevin Stefanski.
Thank you. They just traded away Greg Newsome, so this team is tanking.
Yeah. And we don't even know for sure if Shador is going to be the second string. That's
the biggest thing. To me, I'm going to say this. And, we both have really been Shador Sanders defenders, but I have been the one pounding the table since they drafted him in that late day in April when the Cavaliers were beating the Heat by 30 down in Miami, that Shador Sanders should be the week 1 starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
No, I was saying that about Dillon Gabriel, not Shador.
But I was saying that about Shador. And I still believe that. And to me, he's the best quarterback on the team, and he's getting basically blackballed. And Dillon Gabriel is a waste of time. I'm sorry to tell you this, Josh. You probably already know this. I hate to tell you this, but you are going to get your ass destroyed Sunday by Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you really think Dillon Gabriel, with his short little stature, is going to be able to see over TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward? Do you really think Mike Tomlin's going to let that guy beat him? Absolutely not.
No. It will be funny to see him go against Tua next week. But honestly, looking at the Browns' schedule, after this game against Pittsburgh, it's not that daunting. Like, you have the Dolphins. That's a winnable game. You're at the Patriots. I think New England will win that game. But then you're at the Jets following the bye week. I think we can win that game, even though it's in New Jersey. If Baltimore continues to be as banged up as they are, I think we could win that game. At the Raiders, I would say we can win that game. Home against the 49ers, I'm going to say that's a loss. Tennessee at home, we can win that game. At Chicago, I like the way Caleb Williams is playing, and it seems like him and Ben Johnson are getting on the same page, so I will say that's a loss. Home against Buffalo, it's Josh Allen. I don't see us beating the Bills. We usually split with the Steelers, so I think we can win at home against Pittsburgh. And at Cincinnati to close it out, why not? So I think there are some.
I'm telling you right now, there's no way they win more than 3 games.
Again, I look
I
at their
will send a Dr. Pepper over to your house if they win 4 games.
Oh,
There is, and by the way, that counts the one they already have. So if they go 5-12 or better, I'll send you one because I don't see it. I get what you're saying with the schedule, but this team's a complete lost cause. And from the
I'm not saying they're going to get back into the playoffs.
They're paying 8 quarterbacks. Do you know they're paying 8? Do you know how embarrassing that is? And the even more embarrassing thing is, well, we don't know anything about Shador Sanders, but guess what, guys? Deshaun Watson may be back.
Oh, God.
Boycott the team. I'm sorry. I feel bad for Dillon Gabriel. Maybe he'll be good somewhere else. I don't want the kid to be a bust. I really don't. But I'm sorry. I think this is a complete and abject and utter failure and a disaster, and they need to get every single person in that building out of there. New general manager, new head coach. There is a guy right now in North Carolina who's trying to get himself out. Pay him everything. Go get Belichick and bring him back here. You got
Lord.
nothing to lose, man.
Oh, Lord. I've heard all the noise about fire Kevin Stefanski. No, I am not jumping on that train. I will continue to be a Kevin Stefanski defender.
As I said, so Josh, again, if you go 6-28, that'd be 3-14 in back-to-back seasons. You're not going to fire the coach?
Nope.
Okay.
Here's what I would do. And I would have done this last season and instead of paying him $40 million. Trade Myles Garrett. He is quickly becoming the defensive version of Joe Thomas for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I get it. Joe Thomas went on to become one of the greatest offensive linemen in NFL history. Again, I said one of, not the absolute.
Oh, he's top 5, I think, of all time. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. And one of the greatest left tackles in NFL history. I get it. But when he was in Cleveland, did Joe Thomas ever make the playoffs? No. He went through countless head coaches, countless starting quarterbacks. Good God. Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace, Charlie Fry, Brandon Whedon, Robert Griffin III, I think, was here. Deshaun Kaiser, Colt McCoy, Brady Quinn, Fab Lewis. I could keep going.
Derek Anderson, keep naming them.
Yes, Derek Anderson. But when you look at Myles Garrett, it's been the same thing. Oh, and I didn't even mention all the head coaches Joe Thomas had. Eric Mangini, Pat Shurmur, Romeo Crennel,
Justin Penn,
Hughes. Yes. You get, okay. But then when you flip to Myles Garrett, he's had Freddie Kitchens, Hugh Jackson. Joe Thomas might have even had Hugh Jackson, for God's sake.
Greg Williams as well.
Yes. Yes. And Myles Garrett, yes, he hasn't quite had the same level of quarterback turnover, but he's had to deal with quarterback turnover as well. And I feel like we're wasting his prime. You know, like Joe Thomas never got to experience winning season here in Cleveland.
Yeah, he did his rookie year, 10-7.
Okay, once. But he never went to the playoffs. Myles Garrett has at least done that twice.
They still have not won the division in 30 years.
I know, but like, it feels like the Browns are reluctant to surround Myles Garrett with pieces. I get it. You shouldn't necessarily build your team around a defensive player, but look at what the LA Rams did, and they capitalized and got Aaron Donald a ring. They brought in Matt Stafford. They had Cooper Kupp. They brought in Odell Beckham Jr. They made the moves. I'm not saying that the Browns are a championship team. That I'm not saying that.
Well, their defense is championship. Well, their offense is nowhere close. That's the problem.
Do you get where I'm going with this,
Absolutely.
though? Okay. So that's my point, that, like, you know, for example, Philadelphia felt like they had something with Jalen Hurts. So what did you do? You went out, you drafted Devontae, you trade for A.J. Brown, you bring in Saquon, and boom, look at him now. Tampa Bay was just missing a quarterback. They go get the GOAT, and whoa, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they go and win a freaking Super Bowl. And, they've done that with Baker Mayfield as well. Like, that's my point.